In this video, I'm going to be taking down my 6-week-old cornrows. As you can see, they're looking dusty and crusty, frizzy and dry. It is time to take them out. This might be the longest I've ever kept them in because I usually take them out after 5 weeks max, but this time it was like just 2 days shy of 6 weeks. So I'm going to take you step by step down how I take down my cornrows. I've done some of these videos before, but you guys love them. If you're not new to this channel, then you know this is not my first cornrow video. But if you're new, my name is Angelica. I post videos twice a week, every single week, all about growing long, healthy, natural hair, and a bonus video here and there. So if that seems interesting, consider subscribing. So as you saw, I started by spraying down my hair with my continuous spray bottle, and now I'm using this curl activating moisturizer. Not necessarily recommending this product because I don't see myself repurchasing it. It is fine. It did its job. However, I think I can buy better things for the same price, but I do not want to waste it. I still have some left, so this is the perfect time to use it. I sprayed some in my hands for the bottom of the braids first, and now I'm just spraying it all over my braids. Now, despite what it looks like, I do have low porosity hair, so the water is still kind of like sitting on top of my hair, but it is not wet. You do not want to make your hair wet when you take it down. However, your hair is very fragile and dry. Even if you're moisturizing it, it's not as moisturized as you would when your hair is not in braids. So still make it moisturized enough to detangle and take the braids down without causing any breakage because of dryness. But you don't want it soaking wet because your hair is weakest when wet. That means it can break easily, it can snap easily. So you can see as I'm taking these braids down that my hair doesn't look wet. It's just slightly damp. It just feels moisturized. And in the back there, in my mirror, you can see my fan going on because it's blazing hot and the fan is kind of drying my hair. So I will have to continue spraying a little bit of water as I go. But just know, despite what you think or what you might see, my hair is not dripping wet at all. It is just slightly damp to make this process easy. Now for this first braid, I am showing you this in real time so that you can see that I do not take my hair out super fast. I take it out as slow as possible, but as fast as I can without causing any breakage, and hopefully that's making any sense. I do not use any combs. I've seen people use needles and all kinds of things to take their hair down. Please just use your fingers, even if your nails are not long. Perhaps maybe for the bottom part of your braid, if it's too small, which it shouldn't be, look at that little buildup in the front. That's gel and stuff from wearing wigs. So I take that apart very gently from the bottom, working my way up, and that initial water and conditioner that we sprayed earlier on kind of softened this up and prevents it from breaking and making the hair snap. And as you can see, again, I'm using my fingers. I am very gently detangling and unbraiding, and I will not experience any breakage. If you just yank this out, it's going to create like a little hard ball there. If you just yank it, you're going to be ripping pieces of hair every single time you braid your hair. So what you can see me doing right now is just pulling out any shed hairs. If you've had your hair braided for 6 weeks or longer, you'll know that you're going to have a lot of shed hairs, okay? Do not panic. Everyone loses between 50 to 100 hairs or 130 hairs sometimes every single day. So not combing your hair for 6 weeks will mean that you have thousands of shed hairs just sitting on your hair. Whether you do something to your hair or not, the hair is going to shed. So at this stage, you want to try and make sure you pull out all the shed hairs or the hairs that can come out on their own before you even move to the detangling process. Because once your hair is nice and moisturized, you're also kind of dampening the shed hairs, and shed hairs can cause tangles, which is why I'm detangling braid by braid instead of section by section, because also every braid has its own little curl pattern. And in the front there, you can see I'm only detangling the little front section that has the buildup with my tangle teaser just to get a little bit of that buildup out. But I am not detangling excessively because that's going to be done later on. I'm just focusing on getting out any big tangles and shed hairs. And then after I unbraid every single braid, I put it in a loose twist. This might seem like it's a lot of manipulation, but it is preventative because, like I said, every braid has like a sort of different curl pattern because it's in an individual braid. So if you add the curl pattern from the braid plus the dryness and the shed hairs, it can cause tangling if the braids continue to mix together. However, if you must, you still can unbraid all your hair at once and then divide it in maybe 4 to 8 sections and then detangle like that. But I find it much easier to just detangle like this and go braid by braid. So as you see, I've sped it up now, and Focus on being gentle. You do not want to use anything to pull out your hair. You don't want to detangle with a comb. There I was just looking like, oh my God, my hair has grown. You don't want to detangle with a comb or anything like that, because when you're using your fingers, you can feel the hair shaft much better. And if your hair is breaking anywhere, you can feel it, compared to if you're using a comb. You only notice it if you hear the sounds of snaps. So using your fingers is just the best idea, and you will receive the least amount of breakage. Sometimes breakage is inevitable just because you're manipulating the hair as you're unbraiding it, but you can reduce the amount of breakage drastically. So as you'll see, after I take out every braid, I'm spraying a little bit more water, but it still doesn't look wet. It is just slightly damp to make it easy to detangle. And whenever you detangle, please use a wide tooth comb or a shower comb. Detangle from the bottom going up. Like I said, this is edited and sped up now, so you might not see me detangle from the bottom every time. That might be because I have already cut out that part. Just make sure that you detangle from the bottom up to make sure that you're not ripping out any hair. And now, when I was speaking about the shed hairs and saying you're going to have a lot of shed hair depending on how long you keep the braids in, if you keep the braids in for 1 to 2 weeks and you have an excessive amount of shed hair, it might not be shed hair. It might be breakage because there might have been damage caused during the braiding process. And if you're wondering, how will I actually know what the difference between broken hair is and shed hair? It's actually pretty easy to tell most of the time. Shed hair usually has a white little bulb, the top of the follicle, at the top of the head of the hair. So you see little white dots at the top of the hair. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing, because it means that the hair is just literally falling out of your scalp. It is naturally shedding. That can also happen if you're pulling it out of your scalp. So if you've had this for like 1 week and you can see the white dots all over the front of your hair, that means your hair was pulled out. So that's not a good thing. And if you've had it for 1 to 2 weeks, again, like I said, and you have an excessive amount of shed hairs, that's not a good thing. But if it's broken hair, the hair is going to be, you're not going to see any of those white bulbs. But now, let's say your hair was, a little bit more damp and you can't see any of the white little bulbs. How are you going to tell if it's shed hair or broken hair? Well, shed hair is usually about the same length as your hair. So whatever length your hair is right now, the hairs that come out of your head after you detangle and just pull the shed hairs out of your hair, they should be the same length as the rest of the hairs in your head. If the length is shorter by half or less, that means it's broken hair. That means your hair was breaking in the middle of the shaft, at the bottom of the shaft, at the top. And if you have a lot of little pieces of hair all over the ground, that means your hair is also breaking. Breaking equals bad, okay? Breaking bad. Shedding, not great, but it has to happen. And it's what makes your hair look constantly shiny and fresh and beautiful, because the old hair sheds out, the new hair comes in. And note that hair sheds on purpose so that your hair can continue renewing itself. And every single strand of hair in your head is in a different growth cycle. It's just that a lot of it might be in the growing phase, a lot of it might be in the shedding phase, but they're all at different spots in your head. If it all happened in one point, you would have bald patches. Or if it all happened at once, you would go bald and then your hair would grow back and then you go bald again, which is just, of course, not ideal. So for this last braid, as you can see, I'm sectioning the braid in little sections as well, because I have a lot of hair in this section. And then when I'm done with the detangling, I go ahead and do the twist. Like you can see, again, I'm not twisting all the way to the bottom. It's just loose twists to separate the hair. Do the other side, and we are done with the unbraiding. I do go through quite a thorough step after unbraiding because my hair needs it. It's in a fragile state. So I'm going to be doing a hot oil treatment with my amla oil, and this is it. It's in a nice dark glass bottle. I always make sure to shake it before I use it, and I'll be keeping the bottle in the cup so you can see there's hot water in there to make sure it stays hot. And then I am using this extremely generously because it's a hot oil treatment. So first I focus it on my scalp, make sure it's not dripping anywhere, and then I put a little extra on the hair and on the ends to make sure that it is nice and saturated with oil, because amla has amazing benefits. And this is how the Indians and the people who use amla oil the most, Mediterraneans and all these people, this is how they use the oil. They like to douse their hair in it. And so I decided this is the only way I'm going to be using this oil. So while my hair was in braids, I was using, you guys know my new favorite oil. If you're not new, it is rosemary oil. I did post a video on how to make the rosemary oil, and that's what I've been using on my scalp mostly throughout my braids. If it's not rosemary oil, I've been using moringa oil, but whenever I want to do a hot oil treatment, I use my Indian oil because that's how the Indians find it most beneficial. So that is how I'll be using it. In case you saw this video and you've been wondering how I've incorporated it into my routine, mostly I'm dedicating it to hot oil treatments. So all over the hair, all over the scalp. And then as you can see, as soon as I put the oil, I am taking the twist out and then just leaving it out because now I've done everything I've done. Every section is like pretty detangled. I'm putting oil on the section and then just twisting it out, and then also just like dragging my fingers through it to make sure if there's any more shed hairs, it can come out. And the reason I'm stressing on doing this is, like I said, shed hairs can cause tangling because they're going to be coming out through your hair and mixing with the tangles. So I like to do this before I go into the shower and wash my hair, because in the shower, if you have tangles and knots, it's just going to solidify them. It's going to make them, your hair is just going to be extremely hard to manage, and your scalp is going to be just feeling very painful, okay? Taking out hair for me is already, no matter how gentle I am, it's still quite irritating to my scalp. So there's a little close-up on my last little twist, putting the oil in. And as you can see, I just take the twist down, work the oil through, and that's the oil part done. But now it's time for the most important thing after hot oil, and this is a scalp massage. So I always start by putting a little extra oil on my hairline because, we wash our face there. It always needs a little extra boost. I didn't feel the need to put any extra oil around the perimeter of my hair because the oil was already dripping down there and I didn't need it. And now I squeezed a little bit more of the amla oil onto my palms to just rub onto my hair everywhere else in case any parts of my hair didn't get enough oil. And now we're actually doing the scalp massage, starting from the front of my hair and working my way all the way back. I won't show the whole thing because time, and I've done quite a few videos demonstrating exactly how to do a scalp massage. This is what makes the benefits of the scalp massage This is what makes the benefits of the oil really, really work better on your scalp. It stimulates hair growth just by itself. So it really makes the oil work better if you do a scalp massage. So now that that's done, you can see that is all my shedding, which looks like a lot, but for 6 weeks, that is actually perfect for me. As you can see, my hair strands individually are pretty thick and my hair is getting a little longer. So that is the amount of shedding I expect. It's actually less than I expected, which is great. So now I just tied my hair in a bun, and when I went to bed, I actually just put a satin scarf over, and this is the next day. I like to take a break between the washes just to reduce the manipulation. I shampooed my hair with the Amika The Cure shampoo. It is a bond builder shampoo. And then I used this Matrix Fiber Strong conditioner because I felt like I needed a little bit of protein, but I needed more moisture, so I still deep condition with my Amika Soul Food Nourishing Mask. It is extremely moisturizing. And then the most important part for me is the leave-in, and I use the Olaplex number 6, which has been my favorite leave-in of the moment. I can't believe this tiny little bottle has lasted for months. So this is one of the crucial parts, so I decided to show a little clip. I put it on soaking wet hair in small sections. I put it all over the hair, and then I detangle with my Tangle Teaser while this is in my hair. I only use the Tangle Teaser, which I really want to get one that has a handle, but I don't have one yet. So this one is doing well for now. So I just thoroughly detangle using my Tangle Teaser, and as you can see, my curls are nicely bouncing back. This is actually an older video, but I just wanted to show you the technique. So once that's done, I go ahead and put it into a twist, and every single little section after this one will be twisted. I have shown this in my how I moisturize my hair, how it changed my hair like forever. And so I just wanted to show this little clip in case you haven't seen that. So I twist it nicely to the bottom and just wrap that around my finger to make sure that it coils. And then I do that to my entire section. Then I go under a plastic bag after I tie it up, just like I would with a deep conditioner. Stay under for 20 minutes. Come out, and my hair feels so soft and hydrated and moisturized. And I just left my hair to air dry in those twists. And this is what my hair was looking like, of course, before the air dry. It's just in the twists, nice and loose. And you can see my hair is growing, okay? it is doing amazing. I'm actually due for a trim. That means a silk press is coming soon so I can do a very even trim. Hit my face to subscribe. Watch the 2 videos on the other side of the screen if you'd like to see any of my older videos. Can't wait to see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you. Bye!